So seemingly Takemichi's goal for this loop has been met, unless they were promoting someone else to 3rd Division commander there. Either way, it's never going to end. Whatever Takemichi's new goal is, there'll always be something that'll throw a wrench into the equation and just cause everything to go absolutely haywire. I definitely thought last week was a pretty emotional episode with the death and everything about that. Seeing once again his best friend do the same thing, this time different based on the fact that he is a family. Literally, family was most likely kidnapped, forcing a gunpoint. But I have to say the funeral was a different league of emotional pain. It was emotional seeing the death, but I said it last week, it almost felt inspiring, right? Like, this was a Takemichi with a determination. He wanted to be the leader, and you believed in it. It would be a long journey to get there, but if he's saying he's going to be the leader to stop this shit from ever happening, I was willing to believe him last week. So, rather than it being like a tearjerker last week, it was more of like a inspirational, painful episode. This episode, pure pain. To see the brother break down and cry at the funeral, to see Takemichi, he's paying his respects, but he can't move because he's just so distraught. It was absolutely just turmoil. And to see the reason why, seemingly, no matter what happens, Hina, and I guess Takemichi as well, will end up dead. And it's because of this one bastard who went from envy and worshipping Mikey to that worship becoming hatred and wanting to take everything that Mikey cares for and destroy it. And it's very interesting, but I have to say frightening to see what Takemichi is going to have to overcome if he wants to prevent all-out chaos. And seemingly, based on the brother and him before traveling back in time, this will be a loop that will last quite a while, so it's not going to be like him jumping forward and backwards a lot. Like, I feel like he's probably going to stick around for quite a few episodes in the past, until something comes up where he has no idea how to deal with it, jump in the future, get some information, then come back. I know there are some people who are saying, like, he needs to just completely stick to the past. Absolutely not. There's two big issues with that. One, his body is basically on life support, so you do have to kind of check in on yourself to make sure you're not dead or anything. But two, he doesn't have all the answers, and he has one shot to deal with all the obstacles. So if he learns about something that he thinks is worrisome, he needs to jump ahead in time and get information, because once he passes the date, there's no going back, right? So it's not a matter of just sticking to one timeline and going with it. No, I mean, for better or worse, he has to keep jumping around because he only has that one shot, which is what makes Tokyo Revengers actually have stakes rather than just being able to redo time and time again. Generally, when it comes to time travel, the idea of being able to unlimitedly just redo your situations, the way they counter that being an easy to go thing is they make it a mental burden, which does work, but I think one of the things that separates Tokyo Revengers is how unique its mechanic actually is, and how much of a hindrance and blessing it is, right? With autopilot Takemichi to vegetable state Takemichi, depending on which way he is, forward or backwards. I think just the build-up to see the resolve, to see from, just a fool's dream to actually believing, because as much as it's insane to hear someone say, I'm going to be the leader of the most powerful gang, he hasn't failed his missions yet. Every time he went back to change something, he actually changed it. So, while yes, the same situation that they were trying to avoid did happen, it happened differently because he solved the previous issue. Like, Tokyo Revengers is just definitely in a league of its own for time travel kind of shonen style stories, right? The inspirational kind of awe and just how they build up a character who literally has no right to be in a gang, but has gone from just being a wimpy nobody to becoming one of the more powerful members of a pretty dangerous gang, at least in the past, not in the present, because he is just a general retailer, selling DVDs and things like that. To see Draken, though, actually on death's row, that hurt. I mean, I'm glad he's not dead. I was totally expecting Draken ended up dead in a different way years down the line. Nope, it seems like he too was manipulated to doing things, probably had to take the fall. But it feels like there's gonna be no way to avoid certain types of bloodshed, right? If characters are specifically worshipping Mikey to then turning into full-on hatred, sure, you might be able to change his perception and maybe not go off the rails, but certain characters are probably going to have to die, and there's no way around it. It'll be interesting to see if Takemichi wants it to happen, or he's going to be the cause of certain characters dying, right? But I mean, it'll be very interesting, because now that we're officially into the next core, this should be a completely different wave. This isn't a Takemichi who doesn't have any respect. I mean, he seemingly has respect in this gang right now. even if he doesn't have the highest title or anything, he's the reason characters like Draken are alive. That's going to put him on a pedestal above a lot of people. With that pedestal, though, will cause envy and jealousy, so that could also cause him more issues as well. But I think as long as he asserts his dominance, even if he's not the most physically, capable, it's all about the emotional kind of, the way he holds himself together. If he presents himself like a badass, if someone punches him, all matter of how he deals with that situation. Does he show authority by having a wave of goons do his bidding for him because they know this man's in big with Draken and Mikey? If we're good with Takemichi, they'll be good with us and we'll work our way up the hierarchy. Who gives a shit about this one guy who might be physically stronger when seriously this man has better connections than we ever will, right? So there's all these different hurdles he's going to have to juggle, but it's great to see the progression without it feeling like, oh, because he's really high up now with the hierarchy, even if he doesn't have official titles, he's best bros with Draken and Mikey. There's still other obstacles that will cause him turmoil, and he's always going to have to keep a set of eyes in the back of his head. The more people he has connections with, like the normal characters such as Hina, the more dangers that will be targeted towards her. I think I wouldn't be shocked if there comes a point where someone like Takemichi breaks up with Hina simply to keep her out of harm's way. Could see something like that happening, especially if something feels like we're building up to something in the past. Maybe people are targeting her because everyone knows Takemichi has this girl. Something like that could definitely be a cool plot point, but overall, this was a great episode. Probably the most emotional, I would argue. Even though last week was definitely more brutal, I think in terms of the inspiring message of Takemichi, it outweighed the death because we knew he could try again. Here, watching a funeral and seeing families break down and cry, that hit a lot differently, at least for me. Tokyo Revengers is selling like hotcakes. It feels like every single week before the new episode comes out, I see a new number of how many volumes the manga recently sold, and it's absolutely insane. And seriously, I hope to God, because this is literally the perfect scenario for an anime adaptation. Usually, you get the one season to promote the source material. The source material gets more popular, maybe the production committee funds more anime. Here, the manga already is selling so much, it doesn't matter how much more it sells. It's already one of the most successful manga series. Please, production committee, give us multiple seasons, if not a full adaptation. We're in this golden scenario where we could keep making more anime without it intruding on the source material while still having breathing room for people to go purchase the source material. So in theory, all the people involved in the production committee hopefully will want to keep making money with this anime, and I think it will make a lot of money. I don't think there's been any Blu-ray releases as of yet, but from streaming numbers and other things I've seen, this should be a moneymaker even in anime form, and I'm really hoping we get multiple seasons. A blind man would say, of course. Even I can see that this will get more, but there's always that worrisome I have with production committees and their stupid decisions that they make. But if somehow this is an anime that gets canceled and doesn't continue, there's no way you don't read the manga, am I right? Let me know your thoughts and feelings on this week's Tokyo Revengers episode down below. Drop a like to help promote the video, and of course subscribe if you're new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.